Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Kelly and I'm so excited to be presenting with you all today. I'm also presenting alongside Addison. Additionally, all of your questions are being answered by Charlotte in the Q&A box. Before we do begin, we would like to thank the rest of the Broaden Life-Cycle Utility team. It is thanks to their hard work and dedication throughout this semester that we were able to present for you all today. 12 billion pieces of packaging in the cosmetic industry are produced annually each year. 9% of this packaging is actually being recycled, and the gap between what is being recycled and what is going into the garbage is just growing more and more. What we need to do is something related to sustainability, and this is included with refillability. Today, we will be talking about what refill packaging looks like in the cosmetic industry, provide real-life examples of what refillable cosmetic packaging entails, look at marketing of refillable cosmetics, how consumers feel, react, and use refillable packaging, and what is next for the industry of refillable cosmetic packaging. There are a couple of definitions that we need to make sure that everyone truly understands. The first being, what is sustainability? Sustainability is the concept of meeting our own needs without compromising the future. Additionally, as we are speaking about refillability, it is important to understand that refillability is the concept that a container can be filled over and over again with a product. The cosmetic industry is worth $93.5 billion in the United States alone, and it comes with quite a lot of waste. Refill programs are able to help the industry with the amount of waste that they have, though. Through research completed by the entire BLU team, we have been able to learn more about this concept. There are so many different refill programs in the refillable industry of cosmetics, like Lush's program, where if you take back 5 of their pots, you get a free face mask. There should be a poll showing up on your screen, and we would like to know, do you take advantage of these programs, or do you find yourself not purchasing a new product and taking the container back? Just give a few moments for you to take a look. And just 5 more seconds. Okay, so based on this results, it looks like most people tend to buy their new product instead of taking refills back. And I completely understand. I've done the same quite often in the past. Calissa, the project manager, and myself had the opportunity to speak with Premi Beauty Industries, which is a packaging company which creates packages for cosmetics. They spoke to us about many of their different products, but in specific, we were very interested in their airless technology. Now, this type of this type of technology was created with this thought of sustainability in mind. It is a glass package, which is able to be refilled multiple times. It provides a longer shelf life for product and helps to save on some packaging. Through their creation, they've already seen extreme success and they've seen consumers take advantage of this technology. They're proud to be taking care of the planet to the best of their capabilities through this program. To learn more about the interview, there will be a link to our blog at the end of the presentation for you all to take a look at. Kjær Weiss is a beauty company which uses refillable metal alloy containers. Now, these containers are a little bit pricey, but with the option to refill them, it comes to almost half the price of the product, which is great, except at this point in time, it's not yet recyclable. Additionally, the company uses a red colored paper, which is recyclable, compostable, cheaper, and flexible. However, it's not the most stylish. Through these innovations, Kjær Weiss has already seen a large increase in sales between the first and second quarter of 2020, and refills account for more than 30% of the brand's overall sales. The company does have a long way to go, but they are on the right track. So the other day I was at Sephora and I came across the brushes that you see below. Now, these brushes were made with the thought of sustainability in mind. So they're called recyclable brush sets. So the entire brush is made of a glue-free PLA plastic, and is actually completely compostable. The tops of the brushes can come off, as you can see in the image on the left-hand side, and that part can be thrown out once the bristles are no longer usable, and one can buy attachments for the top of the brush. This helps to save on money and purchase less product or waste.
Thanks, Kelly. I think that brush example is a really cool one because it kind of shows that refills don't have to be our conventional idea of actually just refilling a product, but something like a brush can be refilled. So another company that is doing refills is Alima Pure. And since they were founded in 2004, they've put a lot of focus on sustainability. And one of the ways that they do this is through their refill program. So on the top right of the slide, you'll see the container, and that's their refill at the bottom below it. So how it works is that there's a magnet on the bottom of the container and then a metal strip on the refill. You slide it in, it connects by the magnet. When you're finished with it, you turn it over, tap it out, and then you're good to refill it again. So that kind of easy use, that kind of design is great. And it also looks nice. It doesn't look like anything other than what it's supposed to be. And we're going to talk about that in a second because that's a big aspect of creating a successful refill. Kelly, you want to switch the slide? Thanks. So like I was saying, the design is a really big aspect of creating a successful refill. You have to think that if you're making a refill, you want it to last longer than the average lifespan of the product, potentially even years. So your customers have to be really happy with how it looks and how it operates. And a big part of that is in the design. Another thing that you have to do to make sure that it's successful is you have to make sure enough people see it. Just like any other product, if not enough people see it, not enough people will use the product, and then it may not be sustainable to try and implement a refill service if there aren't enough users. And then once you get those users to see the product, you also have to convey how easy it is to use. Because one of the biggest problems with refills is the inconvenience of it, because we're so accustomed to buying a single-use product, throwing it out when we're done with it, and then grabbing a new one and not thinking about it. So by making the product easier to refill, you'll get a lot more people coming in to the refill program and make it successful. And all of these things combine into an incentive to return for the customer. And that's a really, really big part of refills, obviously, because you need the customers to come back to refill the product. Companies like Le Labo for their soap and Alima have a good business model of offering discounts. Alima does a subscription service where they offer 15% off every single refill if you subscribe, similar to how magazine subscriptions are used. And Labo offers 20% off on all of their soap refills. So using these incentives really gets consumers into the process of refilling their products, and therefore leaving company with a successful endeavor. So when we were researching this, I discovered that there are a ton of companies that I had no idea had refills. So we're gonna set up a quick poll here, and I'm interested to see how many people here on the list on the screen, how many of you have seen these brands and have these refills? I know that there was a lot here for me, big ones like MAC, Ulta, Sephora, Olay. You know, I see these products in my house all the time, and from my mom and my sister, and I never once knew that they had refill programs. So we'll give it about 5 more seconds here. Yeah, so similar. It looks like a lot of you don't really know that these companies have refills, and I think a big part of that is because a lot of companies don't really push the issue on their refill programs. They might implement them and they might have them in place, but the exposure and the kind of drive to get them in front of the client is not really there yet. So looking at some stats for some refills. Nowadays, consumers are really looking for sustainable products that they can feel good about buying. And it shows 74% of consumers actually are willing to pay more for a product that they find sustainable or ethical. And 63% of respondents in a US survey found that every single day they're trying to make a positive impact on the environment through their decisions. And all of this kind of culminates into creating an environment that refills can be successful in. And even companies are seeing this now. 73% of decision makers are seeing sustainability as a opportunity to create a successful company. And in 2018 to 2019, over half of these decision makers implemented sustainable programs. But one of the stats that maybe isn't so great for refills is this one on the left, and it's 90% of people recycle their kitchen waste, but only 50% will recycle their bathroom waste. And that 40% discrepancy is huge. And when you're talking about recycling, you also have to know that recycling alone can't fix the issues with our landfills and with our environment, and neither can refills. They have to work with each other. And so, if we're seeing a lot of waste coming out of the bathroom that's not being refilled or recycled, sorry, uh, there has to be a change there. And refills are a really great way to lessen that number. So, looking at refills, the pros and the cons. One of the biggest ones on the company side of things is just the brand image that you're going to get, really, because now it's a really big issue to be a sustainable company. You know, a lot of people look for that. I know I'm a lot more conscious now of where my purchasing comes from. So, if you have refill programs and you have a sustainable image for your brand, uh, you're going to be a lot more successful with your sales, especially in our age group, in the 20s, in the 30s. People really look for that. Another thing that companies really benefit from is just knowing that you can have repeat clients. A Lima subscription service, for example, they'll be able to estimate over a 6-month period how many people are going to be coming back to buy those products. Um, for the cons, however, it might take a little bit of R&D and expenditure to try and get these refill programs into use. Some of the packaging might cost more, and some of the support around the system might cost the company more money. For consumers, one of the biggest things is you're going to be feeling good about your purchases. You're going to feel like you're making an impact, and you're also going to be saving money over time with these discounts. If you stay consistent with it, you'll actually save more money than if you're using a single-use product. The pro or the cons, however, obviously, it's the ease of use. That's the biggest thing. It's way easier to go to a store, pick up a bottle of something, use it, and then just toss it in the bin, you know? Um, and then when it comes to the environment, obviously, uh, less packages means less burden on the recycling plants, less fill in the landfills. But some of the cons, like we saw in a previous slide with QR Weiss, these packages are made using multiple layers of materials sometimes, and that means that they're really hard to recycle. You have to mechanically separate them, and we don't really have the infrastructure to do that on a large scale globally. So it's definitely something that needs improvement. And then lastly, looking forward, lot to be excited about. By 2025, Olay and L'Oreal have made statements that they're going to try and have over 75% of their products either recyclable, refillable, or reusable fully. And that's an awesome initiative, and it's pretty close, only 5 years from now. We have companies like Loop under TerraPak. They're working with Haagen-Dazs and Lysol and a lot of really big name brands already, and they're looking to branch into high-end cosmetics. They have a cool system where it's kind of like a door-to-door, pick up your container at your door, clean it industrially, bring it back to you filled with product. It's a really cool initiative. Really, what we need to look for going forward, though, is how can we make this process as simple as it can be? If we can make the process more simple, more people are going to use it, the more successful it's going to be, and then more benefits we're going to see. Because the benefits of refills are really not in a single household. It's when we have hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of households using these refill programs that we're really going to see the benefits. So again, just wrapping up, I'd like to say another thank you to the Broaden Life-Cycle Utility team. Without them, this couldn't have been possible. Up in the right, you have a link to our Instagram and to our blog post. And now we just like to open the floor for any questions that you might have. So our moderator, Charlotte, is going to answer those as best as we can. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte. I'm your moderator today. I'm going to be answering any of your questions. We've already got a few in the chat, but feel free to toss them in. I've only got 1 or 2 minutes, so I won't be able to answer all of them, unfortunately. One of the first questions I got today was regarding the Sephora makeup brushes that Kelly talked about, just asking if they are compatible with other brands. Unfortunately, they are not. I know there are some brands that might be able to connect to others, but the Sephora brushes are designed specifically just to connect to their own brand. But it is somewhere that we could 100% see the cosmetic industry moving towards, making a sort of universal standard that works with every kind of brush, so that you don't need to go specifically to one company to get them. Although that might be something that a company would prefer to do, to have their own brand, their own style, and one that only works within their company, so that you have to keep coming back to them if you want to refill it. So it could go either way, but the Sephora brushes at the moment are at least designed just to match with themselves. One of the other questions I got was why kitchen waste is recycled 40% more than bathroom waste. I believe that's because it's more common for people to check the packaging labels on kitchen products versus products in their bathroom to check if they are recyclable in the first place. There's sort of a common expectation to recycle and compost food waste and other kitchen items, whereas a lot of bathroom waste tends to be plastic. So automatically when you think plastic, a lot of people just assume that they have to be thrown out. So that's things like makeup packaging, cosmetic packaging, of course, but also other things like the outside wrapper on a big thing of toilet paper, or even the container for your toothpaste. All of those things are plastic materials. So there's a lot of assumptions regarding it, but of course it means that the stuff that is actually recyclable is often overlooked. So I think that's something that we need to work towards, raise more awareness about, versus kitchen waste, where it's, again, more of a standard for people. Let's see if I have time to answer one more. With cosmetics, is there a hygienic concern of contamination? Of course there is a little bit, just because obviously it's something you're putting on your face or your body, especially right now. So I'm sure, unfortunately, a lot of cosmetic brands are struggling right now if they've got refill programs, simply because of COVID and everything that's going on. People are going to be more cautious about it. But there is, of course, an option to make it safer. So most cosmetic brands will recommend that you thoroughly wash the containers before you before you bring it back to them. So with Lush's program with their containers, although they do have a refill program, it's not exactly the same. So they'll give you a new one and recycle the old ones. There isn't as much of a concern with that because you're not reusing the same containers. But most places will industrially wash the products before they return them to you. Sorry, the packaging before they return it to you. So such as that last company that Addison mentioned, where they sell all sorts of products, those were all washed before they returned to the customer. So that's an option in the future if we're moving towards more refillable content. Unfortunately, although I'd love to answer all the questions, I've got a few here, we don't have time. What I can do is contact you guys after the presentation, send you guys emails and try and answer your questions. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming. I know it was an early meeting at 8 a.m., so we really appreciate you guys being here.